All right, so we're here with the SoCal Speed Bone Stock Prius. What is this,
Bone Stock Prius.
Well, this is a 1932 Ford Highboy roaster, meaning the fenders are off of it and the body sits on top of the frame, as opposed to it being channeled, which would be called a lowboy.
Ah, that's what the channeling is.
Yeah, the channeling thing. So we just got through putting an LS3 5010 Camaro drivetrain in it, and it's all emissions friendly. So this thing is, this is right out of the box.
Wow, well, look here.
510 horse at the flywheel, about 450 out the back, 475 foot-pounds of torque.
And one of the smallest cone filters I've ever seen in my... Oh, wow, and look how long this...
Yeah, it's all part of what there was the stuffing this thing into a small car like this. We had to build the cone and all that, all had to be
well,
a certain
there's a certain
length,
distance there for the mass airflow sensor. Has to be away from the throttle body.
But we left
itself.
it just the way it came out of the box to show guys that, you know, this is what they're selling and this is what fits. It's got cats on it, no muffs.
Wow.
So this thing has already passed the BAR, and we passed with flying colors, came right in on the neutral numbers. So we're halfway to being a legal bunch of outlaws.
And what about the brakes? Because is there something hiding in there?
Yeah, there's something hiding in there. The brakes are...
It looks like it, but that's a good thing, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, well, what's happening here is that the guys... This 57 style brake is a big deal, okay,
right,
for hot rod guys. Well, inside this is a disc brake, so it's hidden inside it. So it's a drum. The drum is just a cosmetic, and it stops. This car stops really good. It's got a 9-inch Ford with big drum brakes in the back.
Well, I just love big chunks of aluminum. And I always loved the cooling duct that was on the front of all these old style drum brakes. It's just such a classic, I don't know, period
kind
look.
Of part of the styling of the car.
Well, the whole thing of, you know, rather than having like an independent front end, this to me, there's a lot of charm in all of this, and when you start modernizing it too much, then it loses the charm of the car because it ain't a hot rod anymore.
No more coilovers for you?
Nah.
It depends on the vehicle, but you know, a car like this, it's very traditional.
Yeah.
We've got the transverse, you know, springs front and rear in it, and it rides great, you know.
And
even with two-ply tires, it gets right along.
And you go like Coker tires, like these
are Coker repops right here, the Firestone.
And as far as the existing drum, were they as big as this, or is this a bigger version of it to accommodate the disc?
No, that's actually pretty close to being what a Buick drum looked like.
Wow.
The exact size and everything.
Yeah, I mean, everything is pretty. The only changes, I mean, if you were getting to really be a purist, is there's a little detail right in here that wasn't on the early Ford backing plate, so that we could have a place to put the caliper.
Mm-hmm. And then the rear end, the rear suspension,
it's buggy leaf front and back.
Oh, really?
Transverse leaf, front and rear.
And it's got a
ladder bar.
Got a ladder bar suspension in it. The car, before we put this engine in it, we had another motor in it and had it in drag race trim, and the car ran in the 11s, and that had about 75 or 100 horse short of this one. So if we put it back in drag race trim and put a 4.5 gear in the back, she'd probably run pretty close. It'd run in the 10s.
So this is, what do you think the car weighs?
This weighs 2,350 pounds.
Wow. Well, it should be light. Doesn't have anything on it.
Yeah.
And I love the knockoffs, and I always love when things are wired up, especially safety wired. Now, they look like they're magnesium.
They're aluminum.
But they're aluminum that look like the old school magnesium.
Yeah, and that's because of the way we've treated all of that.
Right.
The center part of it, yeah.
So, like you glass bead it or something, and then
Well, we'll do a shot peen.
Shot peen on
because a shot peen will actually like close the pores. Like aluminum's very porous, of course, you know, unless you're dealing with like a billet. But you know, a cast wheel like this, we'll take them and we'll actually mask them off and then shot peen it, and it makes it real easy to clean. And it has that you know, original Halibrand cast look to it.
Yeah, and all of this look right in here is all from about 1953 IndyCar. So that whole thing is very IndyCar in appearance.
It seems to me with like a lot of these cars we've been seeing that we finally figured out a way to have our cake and eat it too. Whereas 10 years ago or 15 years ago when guys were redoing stuff, but they're putting modern stereo equipment or modern brakes or modern power plants in it, you could see it from across the street.
Right.
And yeah, you wouldn't want to go with a magnesium rim now for safety, but back then they couldn't get it to look quite right like 10, 15 years ago. Now it seems like everything's dialed in, like everything looks right, but also works right and is modern and it's safe and it passes emissions and all that stuff.
You're nice and tall. Climb in there and see if you're comfy.
And is this
one of the few cars he can fit in?
Yeah. Now, the steering wheel looks like it's a retro. I mean, this thing
that's
looks
a real.
old.
That's a real 40 Ford. This is a real 40 Ford steering wheel and steering column.
Mm-hmm. And the gauges.
These are gauges that we manufacture, but they've got curved glass, and the way they're all mounted, everything is real retro.
Right.
And those are all electric, so that there's no cables.
Yeah.
And it just makes it easier for the guy at home. We're trying to keep him happy and make it as simple as we can for him to. Pop something like this out over a couple years and down in the basement.
Not have the unfinished project. His wife's yelling at him.
Yeah, finish the car.
Right, and now, what if you lived, let's say, out of state and you wanted this kit, for lack of a better term? I know people don't like the word kit. Call it a tribute.
Call it whatever you want, but
ship out the tub and the frame, and you could buy it. I'd buy the motor. The motor would come with it. And do you have them already assembled? Do you have them in different phases?
We have different stages.
We have different stages, and the guys that take these to states where where they're not fighting the laws like we are in California, like in Colorado and Oregon and all of that. There is no issue with any of the emissions.
Right.
So cars are much easier to build out of California.
Well, can we start this one up?
Sure.
I'll
just pull up on the e-brake handle.
All right.
You got her in neutral there, bud?
Yeah.
Okay, just pull out on that and don't give it any throttle.
Pull out on
straight out.
Oh, that'll start it. Wow. I like the starter pull.
Yeah, that's a switch.
See, it's got cats on it, no mufflers. Then it all goes out a 3-inch exhaust. So it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So you need the cats.
Yeah.
But by the time you put the mufflers behind the cats, it kind of kills the whole thing.
Yeah, give it some throttle. You won't believe the noise.
Wow. And completely street legal. That's pretty amazing. The cat no muffler thing is
You just start driving
outstanding.
With no mufflers. What the fuck?
There are no mufflers.
Just push it straight in, and it won't. It doesn't like run on or any of that stuff. See?
No dieseling. What the hell?
No dieseling. What happened? Yeah. And not only that, the computer. These motors run at 210 because they're a fast burn engine, and the computer keeps that thing at 210. I don't care
what you're doing,
because we just did a 1,200 mile test up through Arizona. We went from 0 to 7,000 feet and back 210, and then we ran it in third gear most of the time to see how the torque band was. Never shifted. We never shifted coming over here, passing cars. And
is there a something in the future for SoCal speed, like an amusement park or a hotel casino in Laughlin, or?
Well, it's actually in Pomona. We call it the Shop.
Yeah.
For guys like us, that's our amusement park.
And is there such a thing as like franchising? Like
we do. Yeah, we do. We've got 6 retail stores across the country, 1 in Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then we got dealers around the world.
Overseas.
It really is. It really is bizarre how all this stuff has come back. All this Von Dutch and this.
It's never gone away. It's just now becoming more in the public eye. People are now recognizing it, and now it's becoming,
we're not freaks anymore.
Yeah.
Who are those?
Well, maybe freaks a little bit,
Wow.
It's
Well,
the character you build.
God bless
over
you
the
for
years.
keeping it alive. And I guess you got a pretty short drive back to the shop.
It's
from
always
here, right?
fun, yeah. No
Hey,
big deal.
It's awesome.
Hey,
Thanks
pleasure,
for
man.
coming out.
Nice to meet
Jimmy.
you.
Adam, thank you, sir.
All our pleasure. And if people want to go online
You too, my
and check
friend.
out
Thank
SoCal Speed, or you want to toss out a website?
Yeah, SoCalSpeedShop.com.
That's it.
That's it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, thank you.